Hi everyone! Welcome to Autoimmune Tribe Essential Oil Mastermind. I am so excited to share all of these tools and resources with all of you and get to know all of you better. I think, some type of relationship with each of you, or at least we've interacted on social media, right? So I'm really excited to get to know you better. I'm excited to invite you into this girl tribe that's just like freaking awesome. We have some men in our group, but it's mostly women, spiritual healers, just like really rock solid, amazing women. And we're all kind of on the same page, and I've heard this in some of your introduction posts too, is like, you don't want to feel salesy, right? That's like our worst nightmare. So the way that I approach this entire business is very unique and different than I think what we think of when we think of MLM companies. And so I really want to share with you how I've made it my own, and we're going to dive more into the business pieces later on. I don't want to overwhelm you guys because there is so much to learn, but I really mean that in a good way, as in there's like so much you can fill yourself up with, so much knowledge you can fill yourself up with, not that it needs to be overwhelming, because where you are and what you know today is enough to really get started. We're going to break this down in today's module, Essential Oils for Healing 101, so that you can feel confident and know that you don't have to be an oil genius to share these oils, okay, and build a really fun business. The most fun I had so far is going to convention in September and meeting everyone in person. We kind of grouped up and shared hotel rooms, and it was like a party for 3 days. It was so much fun. And I did really well, even with chronic illness. We were able to go home early, and I was able to sleep. So, tell me if you're here. Say hi. Let me know what's going on. Let's see here. Let me make sure that I am on, there we go, okay, on the Facebook page. And I tend to see comments better here. Hi, Natalie. Yay, I can see the comments here. Okay, so you guys have the opportunity today to ask me as many questions as you want about the science. What is an essential oil? We're going to go over that. What do I use essential oils? What essential oils can I use for this, and this? Hi, Carly. And really just get to know the oils better. So today we're talking more about what are oils, how do we use them. We're not going to talk about ranks and how to build your business quite yet, because I want you guys to start to feel confident in just what essential oils are and why they have these therapeutic benefits, okay? So I'm gonna actually, so I have this box in my lap here. That's kind of why I'm sitting weird. And it's called The Class in the Box. And this is actually an old version, but they just released a new version on November 3rd. doTERRA Class in a Box, okay? And these boxes are only $25. You get a lot inside of them. I guess I'll just briefly show you. So these are kind of like little flyers, or almost like a template that you would give to each of the people inside of your class if it were in person. You get like little invitation cards, you get a DVD, you get different like building and sharing. This probably came in your welcome packet. And then you get a bunch of magazines, the doTERRA Living magazines, to share with everybody. But the best part is, the only reason I bought this one, you can see I haven't actually used it. You can use it, but I bought it because it gives you 10 wild orange, 5 milliliter wild orange bottles. And so if you think about that, I'm not going to necessarily use any of this stuff here, but I got 10 wild orange oils for $2.50 each, and I give those away for giveaways, free samples, like bonuses. or you could, if you were inviting people to a class, that could be a bonus for attending the class as well. So I just wanted to share that this exists with you. And I want to actually use this little guy. Again, I normally don't, because I really approach this business from a way that is a little different. But this is really good information as far as how to teach a class. I'm going to teach a little to you right now, and the basics, okay? So it has 3 points right here. 1, what are essential oils, okay? You don't have to have everything in your head memorized in order to teach a class, right? You could pass these out and you could say, okay, I want to tell you guys what essential oils actually are, right? Because we've seen them in bottles. I don't have any oils in front of me today because I moved them all into my bedroom. But I thought maybe I had one down there. I didn't. You can say, okay, here's this wild orange essential oil. What is it? These are naturally occurring volatile aromatic compounds. They are found in seeds, in bark, in stems, in roots, in flowers, and other parts of plant, right? So they're Earth's medicine. They're purely from the earth. There's no extra anything added to doTERRA essential oils. Other essential oils, there are synthetic chemicals and impurities, okay? Not all other essential oils, but many others, especially all the ones you buy at the grocery store. So essential oils protect plants against environmental threats and provide beneficial properties. So you could think about like different parts of a flower, the leaf, the petals, and these naturally occurring oils inside of the plant ward off different insects for their survival, right? They're highly concentrated when distilled, so they go through a distillation process to just be the pure liquid, for purity, potency, and efficacy. And they've been used historically in food preparation, beauty treatment, and healthcare practices, okay? So that's what essential oils are. It's very simple, right? And it's not something you have to like memorize. I have in my head memorized, these come from plants, trees, bark, roots, flowers, right? Parts of the earth, and that they're volatile aromatic compounds. They smell good, right? Those are the parts that I have memorized. There's a whole section here on why doTERRA, and I'm not going to spend time on that today because I have a whole post on like all of my reasons for doTERRA that I'm happy to share with you. But I would really encourage you to start thinking, we'll talk about this later, start thinking about what is your why. Why did you choose doTERRA? Why are you interested in this autoimmune tribe essential oil mastermind, right? Part of it might be because I'm here to support you. That's why I chose doTERRA, is because I found a badass woman to teach me about essential oils, and I was really attracted to that energy and wanted a mentor, right? Versus going to buy them at the grocery store. You just buy it, you take it home. Who the hell knows how to use it, right? So think about your why. I'll just, read these 3 main points that are on this. That they are certified pure, therapeutic grade. They have rigorously been tested for standards of purity and potency. doTERRA provides empowering solutions, and one drop is all you really need in most cases to have a powerful benefit. One drop goes a long way. They do co-impact sourcing, which you'll hear much more about. They cultivate partnerships with artisans, small-scale growers, and distilleries all around the world to help support communities in a financially sustainable way, and have long-term relationships with those buyers. And also they source from the point of like origin for different plants. So, lavender, I always use this as an example. Lavender, and you guys can use this as an example. I don't ever talk about other brands specifically because I don't, that puts out bad vibes, right? But I will say to you guys, doTERRA sources their lavender oil from France, and this is where lavender is native. Lavender, they talk about lavender like the soil of France being made to grow lavender, okay? And the makeup of that soil, the environmental conditions change the actual, structure of the lavender and the chemical properties of the essential oil. Lavender grown on the side of the highway in Utah is going to have a different chemical, molecular structure, chemical makeup than the lavender in France. It's going to smell different too. So I'm sure you guys have smelled different oils that are called the same thing but smell different ways. And another big oil company does grow their lavender on the side of the highway in Utah. Okay, so again, when I'm trying to sell or share oils, I never talk about any other companies because it just gives off a bad vibe. We're all just trying to empower each other and share the magic of essential oils. So you can talk about why you chose doTERRA and why it's important to you. I would encourage you also to not bash any other oil companies. So how can you use essential oils? Hi, Alicia. Okay, I forgot to keep checking the comments. If you guys have any questions on that, let me know. Okay. So how can you use essential oils? There's 3 main ways, right? Do you guys know what they are? Pop quiz. How do you use essential oils? Aromatically, internally, and topically. Okay? Aromatically. You inhale the oil. You can do that straight from the bottle. You can put it in a diffuser, and there's many different types of diffusers. Or you could put it on topically if it's safe for topical use, and then inhale off your body. However, it is going to be absorbed pretty quickly unless it's rose oil, and rose oil has this magic component to it that actually the scent lasts for a very long time. So aromatically, okay, so again, this is all on this sheet. Essential oils, when diffused or inhaled, can be very stimulating, calming, or soothing. Depends on the oil you're using. Diffusing essential oils also helps clean and purify the air. That's one of the main reasons I diffuse oils in our house, is to help keep the air that we're breathing extra clean. Okay, internal. I'm going to be really honest with you guys about this, okay? Internal use of essential oils really freaked me out. I was scared of it. I was scared of recommending it. I was scared of doing it myself. I had a lot of fear around this internal use because I had heard of horror stories about internal use of essential oils, okay? There is an FDA list, the Food and Drug Administration of the United States list of, it's called the GRAS list, GRAS. It's generally recognized as safe, okay? If you go and see this list, you can see essential oils that are generally recognized as safe for internal use, okay? So you have that to back up any sort of internal usage recommendations that you may give to people, okay? So that's the first thing. And I stick to that list. And you'll see, actually, there's a little A, okay, I, and T, that if you guys, if you're on your computer right now, you can go to a doTERRA, just search doTERRA Breathe, okay? And you'll get the product page for doTERRA Breathe, and you'll see, can this oil be used aromatically, internally, or topically? You'll see the little A, I, and T, and you can see, oh, okay, this oil is not safe for internal use. Okay, I'm not going to use it internally, right? Some are okay for topical use, but they can be sensitive to the skin. Let's stick on internal for now, though. So here's my belief that I have developed, because again, it started in this place of fear, and then I was like, I just need to learn more about these oils. I need to get more, honestly, it wasn't even learning more, it was getting more comfortable with using the oils on myself. And that's what I want you guys to do. If your oils are there, if they've been shipped to you and you have them, start using them, right? Don't let them sit on the shelf. Carly, I have fear about internal use too. I've heard strong warning about burning throat, etc. Okay, yeah. So let me address that. This is what I have come to believe. Oils, because of universal lawed property, are not water soluble. Okay, so that means that when you take your water bottle and you put in a couple drops of wild orange essential oil, that those oils are just going to sit on the top of your water, okay? If you were to put them in and just shake the shit out of your water bottle, they would probably disperse. What I see a lot of people doing is taking a cup of water, putting in oils and then drinking it. They may have no problem. It's all based on individual use, individual reaction. But to me, I think, okay, that's the same thing as just going like this with the bottle of oil. Like, you know, you're just letting it all go through the throat and the digestive tract, okay? So I personally don't do that. doTERRA and many other people you will see do that. It's up to you to figure out what are your beliefs, how are you going to use these oils, okay? So instead of putting them in water, if I did do it, I would feel okay doing that in like this water bottle and shaking the shit out of it and then shaking the shit out of it again when I took another sip later, and just using a couple drops. You know, this is a fairly large, I don't know how many milliliters it is, or ounces. But it's a fairly large water bottle, right? I could probably put a couple drops in there. But you can get a lot of benefit from using oils internally. So I decided to kind of open myself up to this world of internal use because I realized that I was missing out on a third of the way in how you can use essential oils. So now what I do is, number one, sublingual. All that means is that you put the oil under your tongue, okay? I use that with my copaiba, and I do it straight, 1 to 2 drops under my tongue for anxious feelings. I try not to say anxiety because we have what's called compliancy with doTERRA and the way that you can talk about the oils, but really for anxiety, they just prefer you say anxious feelings. And I'll be posting about that later too. But I'll put sublingually, so then it's getting right into the bloodstream. It's not going through your digestive system, right? Like there may be a little bit that settles and that you do have to swallow, but it's not going to be the same as pouring the oil down your throat. And they do absorb into your body very quickly, and especially underneath the tongue. So that's one way that I do use oils internally. I've had no problems. Number 2, I take a vegetable capsule or enteric coated capsule. Enteric coated capsule is going to be typically a black capsule that has a thicker shell, and it is like acid resistant. And so what that does is allows it to not get digested in your stomach acid and push down further into like the small intestines. So if you're trying to say target SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth in the small intestines, it doesn't make sense for you to put the oil into the vegetable capsule because it'll dissolve too quickly. We want it to be able to address and like pinpoint the area of the body where you want the oil to, you know, be used therapeutically. So enteric coated capsules, they are a little more expensive, but if you buy a pack, they're going to last a long time. You can't use them over again or anything, but typically you get like a whole bag of them. So enteric coated to the small intestines, a vegetable capsule if you just want it anywhere but, you know, intestines. So in that case, both cases, I'm not just putting the oil into the capsules, I'm diluting it with fat because oils are fat soluble. They're not water soluble, but they are fat soluble. So I take the 1, 2, 3 drops of oil into the capsule, and then I fill the rest of the capsule up with either olive oil or a full fat coconut oil, okay? Close the cap up, pop it in the mouth, good to go. Again, that's worked really well for me. I would always start low and slow. That's just my rule of thumb. It's something that is used, and many people use low and slow, or slow and low, whatever one you want to be first. Okay, so low and slow, start easy, don't complicate it. Make sure that before you put oil into a capsule that you check the either GRAS list or the doTERRA website to make sure it's safe for internal use, okay? The third way to use essential oils is topically on the skin, right? Recently at convention, I was really interested to learn, and almost surprised to learn too, that they did new research, new study on this, that oils, when diluted with fractionated coconut oil, it doesn't have to be fractionated coconut oil, that just seems to be the favorite, right? You could do like a jojoba oil, you wouldn't do olive oil for your skin. Almond oil, if you do okay with that. Yeah. So I just always use FCO. You'll see that a lot. FCO, fractionated coconut oil, with the oil. So when you dilute the oil and then apply topically, more of the oil is actually absorbed into the skin versus if you apply the oils neat. Neat means undiluted, okay? So I thought I was like getting strong intensity by putting straight oil onto the bottom of my feet. Like, yeah, I would do like some clary sage oil on the bottom of my feet before bed, and realize now that it's better to just make a roller ball with fractionated coconut oil or whatever carrier oil that you want to use and roll it on my foot, because more is going to be absorbed and it's going to be more effective. So that's also amazing and a good sales pitch, frankly, because the oil is going to last you even longer, right? So you might put 10 drops, maybe 20 drops into a 10 milliliter roller ball with fractionated coconut oil, and that's going to last you a long time versus those 10 or 20 drops that I would have used in, 10 days. So really makes the oils last longer as well. If you don't already, I'm going to talk a little bit about resources, and I already posted about some of them, but definitely invest in some roller balls so that you can make your own roller balls at home. I'll post a dilution chart as well, and my suggestion to you is not to get the roller balls. I did this. I got the roller balls with the plastic top because that's what I saw on Amazon, and I didn't even think about what the actual top was made of. I was like, oh, those are pretty blue ones, I'll get them. I'm still using them because they still work, but the metal roller balls work a lot better, okay? Any questions so far? So those are the 3 ways to use essential oils, and each oil is going to have its own rules, right? But this is something you can easily Google, and the doTERRA, or you can search on doTERRA. I always just put into Google the thing I want to know, and then I put doTERRA at the end, and then it comes up. Yeah, aromatic, internal, and topical. Okay, so yeah. This has, like, if you were to teach a class, it has like all the products, and this is basically like an order form, and then it shows all the different starter kits that you can buy that you guys already have, and that's it. Okay, so I just wanted to use that briefly. Now I want to talk a little bit about what do I want to talk to you about? Oh, how do I use essential oils? Okay. I've done 2 webinars on this that are both like 40 minutes each, and so for the sake of not repeating myself and giving you new information instead of repeating what I've already done in the past, I'm just going to post to those 2 webinars that were for my oils team, and you can see how I use the oils personally for autoimmune disease. And then actually I have another one too that's just oils for autoimmune disease in general. I think. I've done a lot. I'll just post all of the webinars I've ever hosted on essential oils, but it would be great for you guys to, if you haven't already, listen to my most recent one, because that one is how I currently am using the oils in my routine. Again, my body's going to be different than yours. My needs are different than yours. I'm dealing with different autoimmune disease than you may be dealing with, or the people that you are sharing with may be dealing with. But there's still a lot of good information there. And I guess maybe if I had to pick like my top, why did I even say this? My top 3 essential oils, because it's so hard. I'm going to ask you guys, what are your 3 favorite essential oils so far? Or products? Because doTERRA doesn't just sell pure oils, blended oils, but they also have a whole product line, right? There's a lot going on, but we're going to keep it simple. So what are your 3 favorites? Mine, definitely clary sage is one of my top 3 because of its estrogen and cortisol balancing properties, and then on an energetic level, cleansing, like, you think of like saging, saging, clary sage, right? So I like to use it spraying, I like to put it topically, one of my favorites. clary sage. I also, probably second favorite is deep blue for inflammation. You know, we all probably have some extent of inflammation if you're here because you also struggle with autoimmune disease. Even if you don't, you got inflammation, right? I just posted on my Instagram like 2 days ago about how my feet have shrunk almost 2 sizes because I've reduced inflammation in my body. But deep blue is a really great anti-inflammatory blend. You could get the oil, the rub, or the supplement. The supplement and the oil. Supplement versus oil and rub have different formulas because one's internal and one's topical. Deep blue is one of my favorites. Third favorite, so hard. I actually like really love all of the emotional line and the touch roller balls, but I'm gonna say balance because it is our grounding blend, and I love being in my upper chakras, and I'm not so much of a fan of being in my lower chakras, and so I need more grounding. Also, I've done my like astrological birth chart, and you can Google or like look up. I learned it in my bioenergetic practitioner training, but anyone can look up like what element was not present when they were born. And the element that was not present when I was born was earth energy. And so I really need earth energy. So balance is a fun one. Okay. Your most recent one is really helpful, FYI, for those who haven't watched it. Yeah, that's probably going to be the most helpful. Alicia, I think. Is that Alicia? Yeah. My phone's blocking your names. Most helpful for you guys. Natalie says peppermint, frankincense, and copaiba, or maybe lavender or vetiver. Right? They're all so hard. And now copaiba is one of my top favorites too, because that's a brand new one. Carly, so far, wild orange, digest scent. That's a really good one too. Lavender. And lavender is like so versatile. If you guys like don't know what oil to suggest for somebody, say lavender. Plus, it's something they're familiar with. Lavender or peppermint, I would say, are like the go-tos that I always recommend. And they're part of the like very basic starter kit. It has lemon, peppermint, and lavender. It's not an enrollment kit, but you can sell little starter kits. Okay, so each oil has different properties, okay? So on 2 levels, okay? There are chemical components to each of these essential oils. I need to find a good image of this to share with you guys. So for example, some oils have a high ester content. Other oils have a high tropyline content. Most of these end in E-N-E, okay? And if you, again, Google any of these oils, Google vetiver, Google lavender, Google frankincense, you can see what those main chemical components of the oil are. Do you need to memorize it? No. Have I memorized it? Hell no. I'm not going to memorize all that. But I do remember like some basics, and it's something that I do like to explain to people about specific oils. So you could say this oil, for example, peppermint. Peppermint has a strong menthol content. Because it has a strong menthol content, its benefits are X, Y, and Z, okay? So each of these chemical components has different benefits, and it makes the oil uniquely kind of suited and developed in nature for these things. And then we, as humans, we harvest Mother Earth's medicine, and we use those chemical components for our healing and our therapy, right? So I just wanted to mention that each of them have a chemical component, especially for those of you who love the science. Go study those chemical components. Go Google esters and menthol and tropylines, right? And see what that means as far as healing goes. If that's not your thing, you don't need to understand all of that in order to use essential oils, okay? Second, each oil has this chemical component, and I don't mean that, I think we're all really holistic here. It's not chemical like chemical that's in all the cleaning supplies and shit that we're used to, right? It's chemical as in like organic chemistry, okay? So hopefully I didn't scare you away there. Each oil has these chemical components, and each oil has the major properties, okay? And so the major properties of each oil vary. And when I say properties, I mean antiviral, antimicrobial, antibacterial. Why can't I think right now? There's oils that are like soothing in your digestive system. All the antis, right? So you can go and you can, anti-inflammatory, that's another one. You can go and, again, Google is our friend here. Careful like of all the sites you're looking at, but I just, again, put doTERRA at the end and you'll get good resources. And it does help to know, like, okay, frankincense. Frankincense is anti-inflammatory. Okay, tea tree or melaleuca oil. Okay, that one's antibacterial, antimicrobial. Oregano oil. Oregano oil is antiviral. Okay, so having some of that basic knowledge is helpful. But my point here in the chemical component and these major properties that each oil has is that when you're confused about what essential oil to use, you can just break it down into those parts. Okay, so if you know menthol is good for certain things, esters are good for certain things, or you just need the purpose of what you're trying to heal in your body is bacteria, well, there's going to be a shit ton of oils that are antibacterial. So really any of those are going to work, okay? And you could even take that on like we're not diagnosing, we're not like giving prescriptions for anything with oils, but say rheumatoid arthritis, okay? So we've got joint inflammation, and so you maybe want like an anti-inflammatory oil. You may want an oil that helps with blood flow, right? And you may want an oil that helps with detoxification. Just some ideas, okay? So then you can go, okay, well, what oils have those three properties, okay? Does that make sense? I hope that's helpful. That's how I do it. People are like, Sarah, what oil do I use for Hashimoto's? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have that memorized, but I can easily figure it out, okay? So I'm not like a walking encyclopedia over here. I use the internet and I use these resources that I'm going to show you. So that's how I do it. Before I go into these, any questions about chemical components or major properties? I want to talk briefly about contraindications. So contraindications, major categories: pets, cats and dogs. I actually don't know. I've never Googled or looked up anything about any other types of pets, but I'm sure there's other types of pets and contraindications, like rabbit maybe. Pregnant women, breastfeeding mothers, kids, and autoimmune disease, okay? So again, this is something that if someone asks you, hey, Sally, none of you are Sally, but you know, this just happened to me today in one of my groups. It's not the first time. Hey, Sarah, I have a cat, or no, she had a friend who had a cat, and she was like, well, you know, what oils should I not give this friend? So, like, you don't want to give your friend oils if she has a cat and then realize that that oil, it actually, like, causes cats' livers to not function correctly, right? So it's good to know, again, these basic contraindications. Pets, pregnant women. So, like, a contraindication for pregnancy is clary sage, whereas breastfeeding mothers, it can, if you have a hard time lactating, clary sage can help increase milk production. So once they have a baby, all is well. There's great lists online for each of these different categories. Kids, I mean, you can use oils on kids as infants, okay? You just want to make sure that you're diluting properly. So it's not like, oh my God, it's a kid, he's too sensitive, don't give him oils. No. Kids are freaking wonderful with oils. I'm going to raise my children using oils. A lot of women in our team that you'll see in the Lotus doTERRA Leaders group have taught their kids, like empowered their kids to do it on their own. So they, you know, make the roller ball for the kid that's properly diluted, and the, you know, little girl can put it on the bottom of her feet before bed as part of her ritual and as part of her routine. I love that. I think it's so cool. Kathleen, who's in this group, just used frankincense and lavender on her, like, how old is Ani now, Katie? I think she's 2 months old now, for her, on her feet when she went to go get vaccines, right? So, like, you can use these on your babies to be supportive emotionally and physically, but you just have to know, you know, the rules, okay? The basic rules. Alicia, when you make recommendations to a potential client, how do you cover your ass? Because we all react differently. Yeah. So there's not really anything to be like afraid of. You're not prescribing anything. These are just oil recommendations, okay? And I mean, like, you use that language, right? When you make a recommendation to a client, the important thing to do is give them the resources that they need. As far as you can send them a dilution table so they understand how to properly dilute. You can ask them if they have any sort of olfactory sensitivity beforehand. Some people are very sensitive to aromas. In that case, you would want them to like double the dilution if they can tolerate it. Olfactory sensitivity. Always spot test, okay? So it's another thing. You want to, so say you're going to put an oil into your moisturizer and put it on top of your face. I'm like, go big or go home. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try this oil and put it on my face. But like, that's my choice. I'm not going to blame anyone else if I have a reaction. But what they suggest you do is like, you know, do a little like spot test, like somewhere on your face or like on your neck to see how you react. If you break out in hives, you know, maybe have a reaction to that oil. You're just hypersensitive to that oil. But in general, it's never been an issue for me. I do make sure that I recommend things to clients in a kind of cautious way, right? I want everyone to stay safe. And again, with the internal, I typically just stay away from that with one-on-one clients. I don't really talk about internal use. I do post about it. Okay. I hope that answered your question. If you need me to expand upon anything, just let me know. So, I'm surprised no one has asked this yet, but there is like kind of it's not a rumor, it's just like something people say out in the world about autoimmune disease and essential oils, and they talk about how certain oils are immunostimulating, which is true, okay? And when you think about the mechanism behind autoimmune disease, well, if the immune system is attacking, say, your thyroid, and then you have an essential oil that is going to boost your immune system, wouldn't that, say, make your immune system attack your thyroid more? Okay, so do you guys see where the issue could be there, right? So with these immunostimulating essential oils, again, you can find lists of which ones those are. I usually approach it like this, okay? First of all, if it's an essential oil that's, say, antibacterial, and in that case, yeah, it's going to help your immune system because the oil is going to kill the bacteria. So it's not boosting your immune system to then attack the bacteria. It itself is supporting the immune system on its own, okay? So that's one major thing. Carly, I've wondered with that about the immune stimulation. Yeah, so hopefully this answers your question. So oregano, antiviral essential oil. I have a little virus, a little bug that's come on, and I do this. I will use the oregano essential oil. Oregano is very potent, so I only use a drop. Olive oil, capsule, pop in the mouth. That oregano is not stimulating my immune system to kill the virus. It is killing the virus, right? Kind of like a supplement you take, like turmeric, is anti-inflammatory. Well, that is fighting the inflammation in your body versus versus telling your immune system to fight the inflammation in your body, right? So that's the first thing. Think about what is the major property of that oil. Why are you using it? Other oils claim to be immunostimulating, as in they strengthen your immune system and boost its effectiveness or its activity, okay? And in that case, I proceed with caution. I know everyone is so different, you guys. Everyone is so different. I use On Guard soft gels and On Guard, especially around my lymph nodes. When I'm sick, I have no problem, okay? The On Guard soft gels keep me from getting sick. It works great. That being said, other people may take an immunostimulating essential oil, topically, aromatically, internally, whatever it may be, and they may feel like they are having like a flare, or maybe they have like stronger detox reaction because their immune system's working. So just proceed with caution for yourselves and for any potential autoimmune clients. It's really not something I've worried about too much. Low and slow. Go low and slow. All will be well, okay? Mindset is a huge part of this. If you are afraid that this oil is going to like spiral you into a flare, the oil is probably going to spiral you into a flare. Mindset is a huge, huge part of it in our belief system. Okay, so if you give an oil to a client or they purchase, that's another thing. You're not really giving the oil to anyone. They're purchasing it on their own, and they're the ones who are using it. You're not applying it to them necessarily, right? So, where was I going with that? They get the essential oil. Why did I just brain fog? They get the essential oil. I just totally lost my train of thought. You guys want to help me? They get the essential oil, they use it. So true, and any sort of healing your beliefs will guide the outcome. Okay, that actually reminds me. Okay, so I was talking about mindset. If you give them the essential oil and you say, oh, but be very careful because this might give you an autoimmune flare, because technically it is an immunostimulating essential oil. What do you think they're gonna go home and think, right? Versus if you were like, this oil, frankincense, has really great anti-inflammatory properties. I want you to start low and slow. If you're gonna use it topically, do the spot test, and if you have any questions, let me know, right? That is a completely different energy than, here's this oil, I think it's gonna work for you, but be really, really careful because it might make you worse, right? So, let's not feed the fear, and let's realize that all of our bodies are completely unique and are going to react to these oils differently. Low and slow. Keep it simple, girls. Women, badass women, keep it simple. Okay? Thank you guys for reminding me what the hell I was talking about. Okay. So now I just want to talk a little bit about resources, but more specifically how these resources can help you use the oils. Okay, so this is my favorite, The Essential Life. I highly recommend this book. I'll put a link to it into the group or in the comments here. And I just want to show you how it's broken down. So in the beginning, there's a quick reference guide. So you can see, okay, maybe you can't really see, but let's, asthma, okay? So it shows the ailment, asthma, and then it'll show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different essential oils that you could use for asthma, and the body system or focus area of asthma, which is the respiratory system, right? Let's do another one. Basal cell carcinoma. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 essential oils you can use. The body system is cellular health. Okay, so this is a fantastic resource. So Alicia asked, when you make recommendations to a potential client, how do you cover your ass? You can just use the recommendations directly from this book and cite this book, right? And that should make you feel like a little more confident in what you're telling people to do, right? So this first part is the quick reference. That's actually a very small part of the actual book, because then it goes into all the oils alphabetically. Okay, basil essential oil, and then we've got some top uses on how to use it. Basil is really good for adrenal fatigue. It says right here, adrenal fatigue, apply topically under the nose, to the bottoms of the feet, or directly to the adrenals to wake up the body's electrical system. I talked about the chemical components of the essential oil. They're right here. So basil, main constituents. They're so hard to pronounce. Linalool, methyl chavicol, and eugenol. Okay, so again, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that if you care, you can look up what those are good for. But it also shows the top properties. Remember I talked about antiviral, antibacterial? This is a neurotonic. It's regenerative, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antibacterial, it's a digestive soother, okay? So, and then it shows what it blends well with. It shows other things it's good for, like menstrual issues, muscle spasms, nausea, cramping. Super cool. So it goes through all the oil blends individually. It's the single oils. Then it goes through the oil blends. So oil blends are going to be things like the protective blend. That's On Guard, okay? And all the different uses for On Guards, the main ingredients. On Guard is the one that is the immunity blend or protective blend. Again, I do fine with it. It has wild orange, clove, cinnamon, and eucalyptus and rosemary. If you were concerned about On Guard, I would have you break down, okay, well, let's look. Am I going to have a reaction to wild orange, clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus, or rosemary? And then, ask yourself, right? You may know you have a sensitivity to those. To me, no. And frankly, most of those things are things I eat, right? So that's why I think that the fear around immunostimulation is a little overdone. That's my opinion. Goes into the supplements, and then this is super cool because it breaks down now like the body system. So for example, the brain. Okay, we've got our brain, 2 full pages, top solutions for different ways to use oils in relation to brain health, some information about the brain kind of and essential oils in general. So then it goes, okay, brain, single oils you can use for brain health: sandalwood, frankincense, cedarwood, rosemary, clove, and thyme. And it says why. Frankincense crosses the blood-brain barrier, is an anti-aging brain support. First of all, that's really cool, right? Blends that you can use. The cellular complex blend provides antioxidants and brain protection. You can also look in some usage tips, okay? So say you want to use the frankincense for that anti-aging brain support. Well, I can use it topically. I can apply it to the forehead or the back of the skull. Aromatically, diffuse the oil so that it may enter through the olfactory system through the nose, okay? Digestive and intestinal is probably going to be very relevant to most of us. So here's some on the digestive system. This is a big ass book and it has a lot of information. So when I am like stumped or I don't want to use Google, I go to this. This is just like a really good reference book. There's a whole section on emotional well-being. So for example, you can see, well, you don't have the book, so you don't want to know the page number. That doesn't matter. But there's emotional index, okay? It shows you here the essential oil, what unbalanced emotion it's good for, and then what balanced emotion it's going to help balance that emotion, right? So clary sage, this would be good if you're feeling limited or if you want to feel enlightened, okay? Pretty cool. They have a positive emotion list and a negative emotion list. So your client or your mom, doesn't matter. Not everyone has clients, and that's okay. But say your friend is really feeling drained, okay? Your friend's really drained. You could give her a little sample of wild orange to feel better. Maybe your friend is really struggling with depression. You might give her a sample of Melissa. Or maybe you and your friend are gonna go on a crazy adventure and you need some courageous, you're gonna both roll birch oil on your body before you go on your adventure, okay? And then it goes into like recipes for kitchen cleaning, an oven clean sprayer, how to use the oils in cooking. I do this a limited amount. So for example, say I don't have any like fresh herb cilantro at home, I'll use some cilantro essential oil. But I don't really bake that much with all the dietary restrictions. And most of the oils are used in baking, but you can use like cilantro in guacamole. But again, you just want to make sure that you are really stirring it up so that the oil's evenly dispersed in the guacamole versus sitting on top, because that person's going to have a strong bite. Okay. And then there's personal care, right? So how to make a face mask, mouthwash, at home, natural deodorant, pets, pregnancy, kids, all the above, okay? This one you guys may also be really interested in. It's all about reflexology, and you can see the different points that are associated with different energy meridians in the body. So say you want to target, someone's having a lot of issue with self-confidence, so you want to target their solar plexus chakra. Your left palm right here is the reflexology point for the solar plexus. So you might apply an oil that's emotionally supportive for confidence right there. Isn't that cool? So cool. This makes me want to work with people in person, one-on-one, way more, because I love my online business, but there's things that we can't do together, right? Yeah. It's not just chakras though. So say you have like an earache. Well, your fourth toe is associated with the ear. Okay, so you can apply it to the bottom of your foot, below your fourth toe, and help with that ear pain. Cool? This book rocks. I talked a little bit about the emotional side in that book, but there's also, if there's two books I would suggest that you buy, it's The Essential Life and this one, Emotions and Essential Oils. Excuse me, guys, just a second. Okay, Emotions and Essential Oils. This gets updated every year. I have last year's. The differences are just that every year doTERRA launches some new products at convention. And then they update the book with the new products. So this is actually the little pamphlet from this year's convention with all the new products, and you can see on the cover here, these were all the products that they launched. So unorganized, right? Books are falling. Okay, Emotions and Essential Oils, updated version. So if you're like looking on Amazon, or I can put a link to, look for this cover, because this is the most updated. Let's just open up intuitively. What do we need? Okay, this oil is not actually sold in the United States. So there's some oils in here that are only in our international regions. But this is kind of a perfect oil to talk about. So it's kumquat oil. We do not have it in the United States, but it is sold in other regions. So it's the oil of authentic presence. And I think that's so perfect for all of us, because I want all of us to be able to show up authentically when we're sharing the power of oils, and to have a strong belief in the oils so that we can share that energy with people instead of our feeling that we don't know enough, right? Because you guys already, I promise you already know enough, and there's always places that you can send people for more resources. So the oil of authentic presence. So then it goes into a couple paragraphs on each page about the emotional properties of this oil, which negative and positive emotions it's associated with. You can choose to buy these together. This is the emotions wheel. And it's just like the book had, sort of. I actually didn't know the book had that until I just flipped open to that page, because I always use the wheel. And it has negative emotions on one side and positive emotions on the other side. So say you could do this when you're at home and you have a friend over, or you could do it, say you have a client sitting in front of you. You could be like, oh, you know, Sally Sue, how are you feeling today? What's been bothering you? And maybe she wants to feel more carefree. You would like to be like, oh, you want to feel more carefree? Use the joyful blend. Joyful blend. Sally has been grieving. Try the respiratory blend, okay? So this is fantastic for like quick negative positive emotions, but the book breaks it down like, whoa. Like, this is my favorite thing. You guys know I'm all about the emotional side of healing autoimmune disease and the mindset and belief system, and this blends in perfectly. So for example, wild orange is the oil of abundance. Wild orange assists an individual's natural creative sense and inspires limitless solutions for problems and issues one never needs to fear. Wild orange invites individuals to completely let go as a child does and to live from their true self. Okay, that's just a little tiny bit of the whole thing. Negative, positive emotions, companion oils that might go well with it. So for example, tangerine, lemon, ylang ylang, and red mandarin, another one that's not in the US. And then different ways to use it for this emotional property, emotional benefit. You could use it aromatically, so you take the wild orange, inhale it directly from the bottle. You could also place a drop in your hand, rub together, and inhale. Or you could diffuse it. Topically, you can put 1 to 3 drops over your sacral chakra. Okay, so it's going to be like the space above your or below your belly button for abundance. Cool? And that makes sense, right? Sacral chakra is orange, wild orange, essential oil. 2 books, Essential Life, Emotions and Essential Oils. You will be an oil genius, okay? You have all the resources. And you guys are on my team, so you always have me as a support system forever and ever. Okay, so I have other things here that aren't as important, but is anyone a yoga teacher? Maybe you have friends that are a yoga teacher, maybe you practice yoga, and that's a way to spread this healing love. You could direct those people to this book if you're not interested in it. It's called Essential Yoga Practice, and it talks about how to use essential oils in for aroma flows. And I've taught some aroma flows locally here at the yoga studio I teach at, and they're really, really fun. And again, you bring in the emotional benefits and the physical benefits. Like I use cypress during core work because it's the oil of motion. Yeah, super fun. Okay. I don't think I'm going to go over any other things here. I want to give you more sharing and sales tools later down the road. So today I just really want to make sure I've answered all of your questions about how to use the essential oils, how they relate to healing, right? I hope I've covered that. And any questions you guys have about the oils that you have. Maybe it's a sign we should all go travel somewhere. Well, funny you say that, because in next September, the 3rd week of September next year, we're going to Utah. The doTERRA convention is hosted in Salt Lake City every year. I went for the first time this year, and it rocks. So maybe we can all get a big Airbnb and meet each other. So much fun. Okay. We are right at an hour here. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to be available for any questions. I hope this was helpful in how you can use essential oils for healing, and also keep it simple. Low and slow. Listen to your gut. Buy the 2 books. Those are the takeaways. Cool? Let me just refresh the Facebook to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, loves. Comment on this thread if you guys have any questions, or you're listening to the recording and you have questions when you listen, and I'm happy to answer them. I'm going to be throwing a lot of information your way, so I think I'm going to put all this onto a website like a page of my website that's probably like password protected or something, so that you guys have more of like a syllabus or a template to keep everything organized. Does anyone want that? I love organization in my life. So that's my style. I think I'm going to create it either way. But you guys let me know if that would be helpful. Okay, I have a client, so I gotta go. But I love you guys, and send all your questions my way. See you soon.